Hey guys, welcome to the Titanium Vault. I'm your host, RJ Bates III, and today I'm coming with you with book review number 3. Today we are going to be reviewing From Poop to Gold and Relentless. So these are two books that I finished a couple of months ago, and I just want to kind of share, after some time, after reading them, kind of my thoughts about these books and whether or not I recommend you as an entrepreneur and whether or not you should read these books yourself. So I want to start with From Poop to Gold, The Marketing Magic of the Harmon Brothers, written by Chris Jones. If you don't know who the Harmon Brothers are, they are a marketing company that has done the ads for Squatty Potty, Purple Mattress, and ClickFunnels, among other companies, and they share the stories of how they got those assignments, those jobs, and then how they came about with their creative ads. And as you can tell by the cover here, that's a unicorn that's pooping rainbow ice cream, okay? And so I'm sure you've seen, because these ads, they went viral all over YouTube as well as other social media platforms. It started with Squatty Potty, which was on Shark Tank. And the ad was of the unicorn sitting on a Squatty Potty and pooping rainbow ice cream. And my biggest takeaway from the book itself is it was more of a storytelling book, right? It showcased their journey as an entrepreneur themselves and how they became this marketing giant and their creative ads. It was less about actionable advice, something that you could actually do yourself, or how they came up with the creative ideas that they came up with. It was more, I guess my biggest takeaway was along the lines of how creative they had to be in their marketing to stand out from all of the other companies out there that are running consistent advertising. And so I think this led me down the path of realizing that sometimes, especially as real estate investors, wholesalers, whatever you want to refer to yourself as, that if you're listening to this, you're probably in that industry, because that's where the majority of my content is revolving around. We have a tendency to be very generic within our marketing efforts, right? Almost so much so that we do exactly the same marketing as our competition. We go to mail houses and we buy the exact same postcard or letter or whatever it is, and we're doing very little to stand out. There's not a whole lot of creativity within our marketing efforts. And that really stood out to me the most. It kind of opened my eyes to, this constant complaining about the lack of lead generation that we have within our business. And then seeing someone like this coming up with this crazy idea here of literally a rainbow ice cream pooping unicorn. That's how deep they went to make Squatty Potty stand out. And they share some of the other creative ads and videos that they've created for other companies, and how they expanded past the rainbow pooping unicorn. But they were all very creative, and they have a consistent theme of going viral. So it was successful, and that's what's made them the successful marketing agent that they are. And so if you're listening to this and maybe you're struggling to come up with some creative ways to market your company, this might be a good book for you to read. Overall, I thought it was, it's not a very thick book. It's a very easy read, just a couple hundred pages. I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't think it was a life-changing book in comparison to the other book that I'm about to review, Relentless. But I didn't think it was a bad read. It was enjoyable. But again, it was more of a storytelling than actionable advice. Okay, now that being said, the second book that we have to review today is Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable, written by Tim S. Grover. Okay, if you don't know who Tim Grover is, He worked specifically with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, amongst other NBA legends. Okay, and the thing that I loved about this book is how much it specifically spoke to me and explained some of the aspects of my life and troubles that I've had connecting with other people as an entrepreneur. And these are feelings that I've had for many years of my life, and I never quite understood why I felt that way. And he explained it. He breaks it down from being, a cooler to a closer to a cleaner, and the difference. And there's great tips on this. And I mean, I'm just going to be completely upfront with you. This book I'm giving a 5 out of 5, and I recommend everybody to read it. Okay. I so much so, and you've heard me say this before on other book reviews. I know this was only book review number 3, but on other book reviews, I've said I recommend listening to the Audible version of it as well as having the hard copy. I have the hard copy because I can always go back and read chapters like this when you're a cleaner. Maybe I'm struggling with a certain aspect of being a business owner or dealing with my own emotions and going back and reading this chapter. I mean, you don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weakness and you attack. That's what you do when you're a cleaner. And maybe I need to refresh that. That's the benefit of having this hard copy. But having the Audible version and hearing Tim actually talk from his personal experiences with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And shockingly enough, even though I'm a huge sports fan, I very rarely put Dwayne Wade in the same category as Kobe and Michael Jordan, but Tim does. And he talks very highly of Dwayne Wade and how much of a cleaner he was as well. But even breaking it down, there was a shocking moment in the book where he even talked about how Steve Kerr was a cleaner. And he had to change and adapt to being on a team with Michael Jordan. And now seeing Steve Kerr as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors and kind of spearheading that dynasty there with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and stuff like that, how he has developed into his own sort of a cleaner. Business-wise, I think there's a lot of analogies and things that you can take away from this and apply to your life. And it's not just sports related. Okay. Obviously, being a huge sports fan helps me and helps me relate to this book a lot more than someone that might not be a huge sports fan. But I think just hearing people that can achieve a certain level of greatness, it's good to sit there and compare your strengths and your weaknesses to them and see how they adapted and how they achieved that level of greatness over the course of time and how you can try to replicate it yourself, no matter what it is that you do. Obviously, for me, it's inside of the real estate investing industry and wholesaling. And so I take that and I try to become a better leader within my organization and try to adapt how I handle certain situations. If you've heard me talk about how I developed the idea for the 50-50-50 challenge, it was because I read this book. This book was recommended to me by my buddy and my partner, Aaron Bevins down in San Antonio. He kept talking about this book, and I read this. I consumed this inside of one day, and I just couldn't stop. And I highly recommend it to any entrepreneur, any business owner. And even if you're not, even if you're looking to just get started as a business owner, I recommend this book. It is definitely one of the top 5 books I've ever read. It impacted me that much. And again, like I said, not only was it something that inspired me, but it inspired change for my life and for my business. And that's where I developed the idea for the 50-day challenge, which now has adapted into, me doing the live batch TV series. I'm going to do the 50-day challenge again here in 2021. And it's also changed how we do acquisitions and dispositions within all of Titanium Investments. And the number one thing that I've heard since reading this book is that consistently, almost on a daily basis, people that don't really know me talk about how authentic and raw I am within my content, the live shows, when I talk to sellers. And that really came about with this book, making me feel comfortable being that authentic with everyone out there. And so I ask you to read this book with an open mind, listen to what he talks about, how he learned from the greats like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And I honestly, just talking about this book, Relentless, it makes me want to go back and read it again, because I'm sure there's a ton of tips in this and certain things that I'm forgetting right now that I'd love to go back and consume again. Because I'll be honest with you, this thing had me emotionally, like it was moving my emotions while I was reading it. And it was mind-blowing to me that I'm sure there's moments in the book that I didn't even consume certain aspects of it. So I definitely want to go back and consume it again for a second time. But between the two books, obviously, I think Relentless is more of a life-changing book. I think From Poop to Gold is more of a enjoyable storytelling book. And it's inspiring in its own right, in the fact that what the Harmon brothers have created within their marketing agency, but not quite as moving to me as Relentless. So hopefully this helps you consume these books. There are links to purchase both books in the show notes below. And just wanted to jump on here real quick and let you know about both of these books. I do recommend both, but if you're looking for something life-changing and actionable advice, I think Relentless is the way to go. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Again, remember, if you're watching on iTunes or listening on iTunes, give us a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.